Cancer.
Hello Cancer, this is your astrological forecast for 2016, and how has May been working out for you? That's a big question, especially for those of you listening early on in the month of May. 5 out of the 8 planets going retrograde, right? So things are slowing down, and it will be that in June here as well, even though that Jupiter right now, May 9th or 10th, depending on where you live, will be picking up speed, moving direct again, so that's one good thing. And as we enter into June, Mercury will also have turned direct. So those two things are going to lift the energy somewhat, get us back on track. But we still have Mars, we got Neptune, we got Saturn, we got Pluto retrograde still, and we're going to talk about how that's going to affect you. But right now here in June, Cancer, the Sun, the new moon, and Venus is in your 12th house, which has to do with their subconsciousness. It's our spirituality. It's what's happening behind the veil. It's also karmic things going on here. So it's a month here for you now to prepare for what is to come next month in July, your birth month, when all of those planets will then be in your first house, where you can spread your wings and feel more at ease, open and flowing. But June for you is the accumulation of what's been taking place in this last year. And so it's time to reflect over that, what goals you had back then, what you had placed as an aim for this year. It's a conclusion of it and a preparation for you now to just recharge your batteries. July is going to be a totally different story. Now June is a little special, just like we had great aspects in the beginning of May, which was absolutely beautiful for so many of you. This month is going to have a little bit more of challenges for us, little tests going on here, because we're going to be encountering several squares, oppositions, and so forth. I'll take you through that so you know what you can come to expect. Mercury retrograded here in May back into your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and Mercury is all about communication, but now moving directly. This is a time here where you now can express what those goals are. And I see you mingling socially here with your friends as well, catching up with them. Many of you have been reconnected with people from the past and friends from the past and so forth. So I bet you're really catching up with that here already also in June. And that's a blessing, isn't it? We have Mars is retrograde and will be until that of June 28th or 29th, depending on where you live, but in the 5th house for self-expression. It's also the area of the businesses that you own. It's also your children, and it's creativity. So you might see that Mars slowing down in this area is giving you extended time to figure out what it is you want to do in this area. You might have extended time now to spend with your children. You have extended time to figure out where you're going in your own business, or if you're thinking about wanting to open a business, it's not the right time to do so quite yet. You want to wait to Mars is direct after the 29th, so July is better, and then I'd say September even better, because you'd like to have Saturn on your side, and Saturn is retrograding until August 12th. So that being said, it's a time to plan. It's a time to put down your strategy. It's a time to listen to your inner creativity, because this is a very creative area of your chart that Mars is now touching upon. And then I mentioned Jupiter being direct now, Saturn being retrograde to the 12th. Saturn is currently in your 6th house, Cancer. So that has to do with your day-to-day routine. It's also how you work with your co-workers. Saturn being your own inner sense of authority, but it could also represent authority above you as well. So you might just see how these things now are working for you in your life. We have the full moon there on June 20th, at 29 degrees, the very last degrees of that 6th house. So things will be high lit here on the 20th, but also bleeding over into the 7th house of your relationship. So this will be a time where you're wanting to see where your relationship is at and what now you can come to experience and allow things to unfold between you and your partner. Neptune is retrograde from June 14th to that of November 20th. So this is going to slow down the area of your 9th house. The 9th house has to do with visas, foreign people and places, lawsuits, of course publishing, anything if you're working with publishers, that might slow down, might find delays, has to do with education, research, long distance travel, all of those things. Neptune may be buzzing this area, but actually buzzing in a sense, asking you to look to the past, not to the future right now. What has your visions been? That's the key word of Neptune. So focus on your visions, focus on wanting to tweak it, perfect it, rearrange things, and then scale them down to after November 20th. So December or it's like 2017 will be a much better time for you than here because of the slowness that we're going to be experiencing. And then of course Uranus is in your 10th house for career. Now Uranus is direct in June, so you can come to experience here that there might be unexpected twists and turns, new things coming up, which is good, and especially on the 12th and the 14th. I'll talk more about that later, but that could be some good news angling into your career house. And then Pluto, the last planet here, also retrograde and will be retrograding till September 26th. Pluto's in your area of relationships and commitments. So your partnerships here is undergoing a little bit of a slowdown, just so the two of you, whether it is your significant other or somebody you work very closely with one-on-one, it's allowing you to work through whatever issues that you might have here in this area and allowing you to tweak it to the point of perfecting, so that when Pluto moves forward again, that you'll be on the same page and able to transform together in where it is you're choosing to go, right? So let's start on top of the month, and I have to say, Cancerians, you're normally very clear because you're so close to your emotions, you're a very nurturing type personality, but here miscommunications can take place. Not necessarily like under a Mercury retrograde, but Neptune is retrograde and the Sun and Venus both, which the Sun is you and Venus what you desire and what you love, and it's money as well, you know, romance. But they're both squaring off on Neptune, which means that you might say something in one way, but then it's being perceived totally different. So there's the misunderstanding. Maybe they're just hearing what they want to hear. Or it could be vice versa, somebody having a conversation with you, meaning it in one way and you perceiving it in a different way. Now this can cause a little bit of a hiccup in the matrix, because on the 3rd, both the Sun and Venus both that had that miscommunication with Neptune is now opposing Saturn. So on the 3rd, don't be surprised if somebody's going to approach you and say, yeah, but you said this and you said that, you promised this, and that it's not coming together. Here's the opposition, which could lead to not just the misunderstanding, but a little bit, maybe an aggravated energy. Now on the 9th, Mercury, planet of communication, is going to be opposing Mars. So your thought patterns, your mind might be heading off of 100 miles a minute down in one direction. Mars is heading that direction. So it's not just being between a rock and a hard place, but it's actually being pulled in two directions. So just be careful that you don't scatter too much here on the 9th, especially when Mars is involved, and Mars being retrograde, we don't want, you know, slips to happen. One nice break is on the 12th and the 14th, where both Venus and the Sun is going to be receiving beautiful aspects from Uranus. Now, the Sun and Venus is in your 12th house, so that's what's been working behind this veil for you, but it's coming from the area of career. So good news here, maybe, hopefully, thumbs up for that. It could be a raise or a promotion, or a new job that's starting up for you, or maybe you're having an interview. Whatever it is, it's good. Good news, 12th and the 14th. But then, lo and behold, 17th through the 20th, not easy days, not on a personal level, you know, for you or I or all of us, but globally. This is because Saturn and Neptune will be squaring off on each other. Saturn is our own inner sense of authority, the things that we stand for, our principles and so forth. And it's the government, what the government represents. And then Neptune, it being square, well, then there could be deceptions, could be lies, it could be something that we didn't see coming. This challenge could be on a global level. And then on the 20th, we'll hear more about that as Mercury, the ruler of communication, will be opposing Saturn, the governments again, or our own inner sense of authority, and also squaring off on Neptune. So those 3 days, a little bit tricky on a personal level. Once again, like I said there at the top of the month, where things might have been said or promised, if or whenever in doubt that that was what you heard, well, then don't be afraid to go and have it verified. Do that just to avoid any kind of complications here on the 17th and 20th. But on the 20th, we have that full moon. It's in your 7th house here, Cancer, for your significant other, your 6th house for your day-to-day routine, but it's on the border of your 7th house. So it's going to bleed into your relationships, but it's more now bringing into focus what's important to you, how you want your day-to-day routine to look like. And so this is a beautiful day, 29 degrees in Sagittarius. So if you have any other planets at 29 degrees, that will also be affected here by this full moon's illumination. Then we end off the month, 26th and 27th, with some beautiful aspects. So thank God, a little break, right? Now that Jupiter is moving direct, Jupiter ruling expansion, enthusiasm, and its abundance, right? Coming into a beautifully golden beam to Pluto. Jupiter for you is in your 3rd house, so that's communication. This is where you're hearing it from. Also has to do with travel, mind you. And then Pluto, your 7th house, your partner. So between you, your partner, travel, communication, these things, it could also be the area of your siblings, which the 3rd house is all about. Well, then this is where that is going to radiate. Then we have Venus, which is now here in your 1st house, is going to have a beautiful golden beam to Neptune, which is your dreams and your visions there in the 9th house. So again, a nice day also, even for romance, even though Neptune is retrograde, shouldn't really do much because Venus is there, the aspect is good. You want to take advantage of the good days that we can throughout the month. So as you can see here, there's a lot taking place here in your life here, Cancer, this month. And don't let those retrogrades get you down or slow you down. The world itself is a little bit in slowdown, but it is so that we can catch up with ourselves, with others around us, so we can get all our loose ends tightly knit together so we are prepared, ready to fly when everything moves direct. But I would say listen to your tarot scopes for this month. They will be posting, and the tarot will give you a whole different set of insights of what you can expect here in June. Just like the astrology, the tarot will give you a good guidance there. So I will see you in July, and meanwhile, have a great month. Bye now.